Hey, thank you for downloading. Welcome to Reality. I'm Ryan Mason. This week's episode featured two of my favorite comedians in the scene that I spend the most time in here in Milwaukee, Elijah Holbrook and Reagan Niemela. They're both super great, really funny. Elijah is the current host of a monthly showcase with Milwaukee comedy called the Blue Ribbon Comedy Show, which is actually out of the Pabst Brewery, which is really neat. People should check that out. Reagan is starting a show on Friday nights at the High Note. The next one will be January 18th. It is called Baroque and Trebled. For this episode, we watched 90 Day Fiance from the wonderful TLC network, Season 6, Episode 13. We will definitely get into all the details of it. As for my upcoming shows, you can find me at Voyager on Tuesday, January 8th, as always, helping out at Landmark Lanes in the Moon Room. And then I will be at Octopi Brewing in Waunakee, Wisconsin on January 11th. For more details, check me out on Twitter at Qdoba Gooding Jr. And without further ado, here we go. Okay, welcome to Reality. I'm Ryan Mason. I'm here with my wife, Nicole.
Hello.
I'm here with two comedians that I love and respect so much. Elijah Holbrook.
Hello.
And Reagan Niemela.
Niemela.
Okay, yes. Wow, I nailed it. So these are two comedians from Milwaukee who are rising stars in our comedy scene, who we forced to watch a really great reality show that, and we're here to get their perspective on it. So for this episode, we watched an episode of 90 Day Fiance. What was the actual episode?
It was season 6, episode 11, and I did not write down the title.
Should we make up a title? I'll make up a title.
Yeah.
My title is Who Are These Animals?
He's a software engineer.
Yeah, he's a software engineer. That's pretty classic. So for anybody who doesn't know, this show is about people who are pursuing a K-1 visa, which is something that you need to stay in the United States if you're from another country, and you get this by marrying somebody within 90 days. What's the 90 days refer to?
No, so I'm going to stop you right there. The K-1 visa is the 90 days. So you get the K-1 visa, you have 90 days to marry, and then you would get a different visa because you'd be married to an American citizen.
Or you go back.
Or you go back.
Yeah. Okay. That never occurred to me the whole time.
Government just watch the show and be like, none of these are lasting us. No, this is all.
Can you imagine some poor, unfortunate, government worker being like, I can't get to that. So, well, this is a good point. One of the points of this show is to make people who don't watch a lot of reality television experience the type of garbage that my wife watches. So, what were your first impressions of this show?
It was awful. It was horrifying. It was one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen.
What specifically was, to you, so shocking?
Well, it was just... At first I didn't know it was a visa thing, because we just started in the middle of a season.
Right.
So we're just they're just finding random people. I was do they just put people together and you have 90 days to fall in love?
There would be a really, what producer would be it's a guy from America and then somebody we kidnapped from a foreign country.
I was so confused. I was like, why does one out of every person have an accent? Because I thought they were just...
So you had no idea it was they actually knew each other and it wasn't they signed up to be on a show.
And I was like, are they just making fun of foreign people? Is that what this whole show is?
Yeah, I can understand how that would
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have no idea how the legal side
And I will
works.
say that there is a show called Married at First Sight that does, in fact, just marry two people who have never met each other. So if you are interested,
we're going to make you watch that.
Just plug that real quick.
Negative.
No. Also, this is season 6, as I said, episode 11, there are like 3 spin-off shows of this show as well.
What? Why?
Yeah.
Do they keep up with these people? Because they
Are
kind of mentioned
the spin-off shows like the first
Keeping up.
48 because the people killed each other?
I feel like-
You've seen some of the spin-off shows like that one with like Muhammad and Danielle, where this like
Muhammad and Danielle.
this
Oh no,
four-
I actually know who she's talking about. Yeah.
where this like 40-year-old woman kidnapped a 19-year-old Tunisian man, and he was
Yeah,
just
that
like,
one's
I
actually
gotta get out of here.
you would pull your hair out watching that.
I feel like-
show.
But yeah, so there's a lot. This must be a very, very popular franchise for TLC because there's many.
Yeah,
many.
there's like lots of iterations of it apparently. I guess.
think
So,
to-
do you watch it, Reagan? Do you watch a lot of reality
I
television?
watch zero reality television.
Okay,
I
so like
watch-
you don't even watch like Chopped.
No.
Okay.
I think the closest thing I watch, or the only reality television show I do watch is I have watched The Great British Baking Show.
Okay, and that's like not even real reality, right?
Well,
like
I would say
everybody's
it's
nice to
very-
each other.
yeah.
It's like the opposite of this
British.
show.
I'd say it's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
similar to this show. It's
Would you consider Hell's Kitchen? Is that?
ooh yeah.
Or no, not
Yeah.
that one. Not that one. Kitchen Nightmares.
Yeah,
what I
that's
mean.
reality TV.
Then
I don't
I've
think.
watched my fair share of Kitchen Nightmares.
So you're
too.
like a cooking show
I
person.
like cooking shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So pretty far afield from this. What about you, Elijah?
I think I watched a season of Ice Road Truckers a while ago.
You kind of dress like an ice road trucker.
For you watch that and you're like, that's not a bad idea. I could make some good money. But then you think of climate change, like I'm not. No.
You put so
Not
much
a lot
more
of
thought into ice road trucking than
Not really.
any of us
That's like
probably.
It's more than I thought about this show. I wasn't like, I want to marry a random person from a different country in 90 days.
So,
Man.
so background on you two as well. These are 2 comedians in the comedy scene here who date one another. So is that okay to say
Yes.
into a
It's
microphone?
true.
It's official. You guys
It's
are going
secret.
steady.
No.
Okay. Both of them are successful in their own right. And it's not like this wasn't a move where like somebody needed a visa or anything
No.
like that. Okay. So I think that's part of the reason we wanted to have you on because now we can speak to it as like 2 couples. Like I can tell you like I've had arguments with my wife, but some of the like discussions that are happening in the span of this show like blow my mind that 2 people who hardly know each other have to have those conversations. So let's just I don't know if you guys are like me, but I can't remember any of the names of the
No,
people.
me neither.
And if I start to go like
I will be
the
your
guy,
guide.
the Jamaican guy,
Yeah.
or like this person, I feel like I'm gonna sound xenophobic, or like I'll be like not
Yeah.
very nice to them. So Nicole, why don't
just
you pick
point to
like
me and
pick like a couple, and then we'll just say like get
Yeah,
your
we'll
thoughts.
talk
yeah,
about that.
so we'll
Yeah.
just go like couple by couple, and I'll give a general overview so you guys know who I'm talking to, or talking about. But was there anyone like off the bat that you like really want to talk about, or are
Who's
they all
like
pretty
burned
evenly?
in your brain?
Yeah.
The Jamaican.
The Jamaican one was hilarious. Actually.
Okay, so that's Jay. That's Jay and Ashley.
Okay.
So he,
Oh,
yeah.
So like
Because they were like,
Jay and
they were
Ash-
already married
Jay
in
and
this
Ashley.
episode.
yes,
We didn't see
they're-
their wedding.
Yeah.
It was like, I guess,
Did
on
they-
Tinder.
Did they get married after like the 30? Like after like 30 days? They're like, oh, we don't need the full 90.
I
What's your give us
so-
the background on it?
So each couple isn't at exactly the same point. So
Okay.
they were, I don't know exactly where they were in their 90-day span when they got married, but
They were at
They
what
were-
I would describe as a low point.
yeah. Well, yeah. So they went to Vegas and got married in
And
the last
entertainment.
episode.
They
Yeah.
got married in Vegas?
Yeah.
That added with
Oh my
everything
God.
else.
Such good.
She's 10 years older than him.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And struggles not to compare him to her children is the best
Right,
part.
right.
She's like,
So wait,
I'm not
give
his
us-
mom.
Like so it's a man and a woman.
So,
give us like the very
I'll give
nuts
you
and bolts of it.
quick background. Ashley has been engaged twice before, and I
Tell.
believe both of them cheated on her.
What?
I'm not 100%.
Yes, she
sure.
said that
she,
in
She
episode.
alluded to
kids
that.
with both of them. is what
I've
she
never.
said.
I don't believe we've seen her children though. So
We
don't
never saw her
know.
children,
Okay.
but she mentioned them multiple times.
Yes. So I don't know. Her best friend was supposed to stand up for the wedding, but said that she did not support it because Jay had been cheating on her in Jamaica the whole time that they were a long distance relationship, and Ashley said she did not believe that.
And the crux of this episode is that Jay, the Jamaican guy, has created a profile on Tinder, and we
Yeah.
find out that he created that profile on Tinder the day they got
3
married.
days
I mean,
after.
fully.
Yeah.
Do you believe that? Does anybody believe that? that like
That he created.
You think he was just like, now's the time to create this. I feel like he had it the whole
He
time.
had it the whole time for
Do
sure.
you think so?
Yeah.
I mean,
The women are very leery.
do they have Tinder in Jamaica?
I'm sure they
know.
do.
Maybe.
I don't know. Like,
Why wouldn't they?
they must, I guess, right?
I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
it.
Never.
It's just, it's.
Yeah, because you can do, like on Tinder, you can do other countries.
Oh,
If
you can?
If you pay, you can Tinder around the whole world.
That
That makes
shouldn't
sense.
happen.
Like that's how Marco Polo did it.
Yeah.
Like, he just
This
he closed his
entire
eyes
TV
and just.
This entire TV show is actually sponsored by Tinder.
It would make
That's how they
sense
find each other.
that. See, I thought that maybe it was true that he created the Tinder profile like the day that they got married, because it made sense that like he finally knew that he was going to be in the United States for a long
Okay.
time. So he was like, oh well, like I can start
But
messaging these other women if the intent was like I'm gonna like have a chance to.
they do not get their green card right away.
But he'll be there long enough to Tinder. He's gonna Tinder. He can Tinder.
I feel like
You
all
gotta
of us
be-
have thought about this way more than the 19-year-old who did it.
How old is he?
19, yeah,
He's
I
19.
think, yeah.
Oh my
Or
god.
20, something like that.
19 or 20,
19,
yeah, because
yeah.
there was like a whole scene where he was in a barbershop and everyone was like, don't do this. And he was like, yeah, my life's over. And it was like, this guy does not seem like someone.
19? Oh my god. Man, a
Um,
19-year-old who thinks his life is over, and you're just like, you know what, I can
He's
fix
not
it.
doing comedy.
Yeah, exactly. He's done it the open mic.
Uh,
So wait, how old are you, Elijah? Do you want to
26.
say? You're 26.
I'm 24.
You're 24. Oh, I see. So kind of like these two.
Yeah, huge age
So
gap.
I'm older than you
Rodney
guys,
Crowe.
and I can say that like I'm like 10 years older than you, Reagan, and I would say like I'm at such a different station in my life that I would feel weird, like being like
Yeah.
just scooping somebody out of like another country and being like, look, we have very little in common, but we shared a special weekend in you know Negril. Like I just don't see how she made that leap.
Well, also, like, just, we'll go into it later. They had a kind of a boring episode, but Jonathan and Fernanda, I think it was their wedding this episode. Fernanda is the Mexican woman, and then Jonathan had, like,
Oh,
or he shaved his beard, I think, this episode. He had
Yeah.
his beard.
Right.
He's, like, 31 and she's 18.
And she was like, "This isn't the wedding of my dreams because her family's not there."
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
big
Right.
thing is her family wasn't there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you
So
remember
they
those
are
two?
also, like, they didn't have a
Right.
lot of showing on this episode.
Wait, I just want to talk
remember
one
them.
more thing about this Jay. And,
No, I
is
have
it Jay
one
and
other thing
Amanda?
that's really important.
Ashley, Jay and Ashley.
That
Okay,
makes
so you mentioned her kids are like they're nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
But when she has like a heart to heart with one of her sister or
Oh,
This
or
is
like,
what I wanted
they
to
are at a playground.
Yeah.
Okay, this
Her-
I
is it her
wanted to talk.
sister that
I
she
think it was a
comes in?
friend. I don't know.
Her friend had
I
so
wanted
many
to talk
chokers
about
on,
her
it was-
so hard.
Okay, so in the episode
That
there comes a
moment.
moment where she needs like to talk to a confidant.
Yeah.
Where like Elijah,
Brandy
maybe you would come to
was
me.
her name.
With
right?
an eye.
I remember like because she stepped out of her like Dodge Challenger. And
Yeah.
it was like Brandy, and I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's a
she
Brandy.
was wearing like almost like a harness type of.
She
And
looked like
she
a
had those weird
Hogan
shorts.
character.
Yeah, yeah.
First of all, I love her. I think she's.
Oh, it was a shining moment of the episode for me. Like truly.
She was very like real to the woman that she was talking to. Though she was
Yeah.
like, I would break up with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's like, I drive a Dodge Challenger. I've seen some stuff.
I'm pretty bad.
She
Like-
had a very like what was her hair to me was very kind of like
Punky, like
yeah she had,
Yeah.
she had
At
this
home.
like punk vibe.
Yeah.
But she also seemed like she had seen some stuff.
Yeah.
So you guys said you don't watch reality TV, but it really, like, that moment felt like an intervention episode. And like on intervention, there's like
Yeah.
always these moments where they try to have this like normal moment with their family and like their kid or whatever, and they're
Right.
just like at a park because they have to be like watched.
So you're
And it
saying-
was like that. I felt like it was doubling at that moment,
You
and I was
think,
like, "What's
maybe there's
happening?"
Another film crew following
Yeah,
Brandy.
like Randy might have been concurrently filming
Or
her
like John
intervention
Taffer
episode.
was like there in the background. 'Cause I know she works at like a
Yeah.
bar, right? Like, Brandy like
Yeah.
probably just worked a double, but she knows
Yeah.
enough not to put up with that.
Probably
jazz.
in like a harbor town.
Oh God! I mean,
Oh.
I loved her.
Jesus Christ.
I loved her. I mean, get her. I mean, I think she was filming a show.
Spin-off,
but-
yeah. They should have a spin-off.
The only other
Brandy.
thing,
What would you call? What's her sister's name?
I think it was a friend, but Brandy with an I.
And then it's Ashley.
Oh, Ashley, yeah.
Man, yeah, I can't think of what I would call their
Their
BA.
spin-off.
Something, yeah, like
Just the two of them.
yeah, Brandy and Ashley. Bashley, something like that. I don't know. No, we're gonna cut this off.
There's the only other thing I wanted to touch on with Jay and Ashley that made me laugh really out loud was there was like a moment at the end where like he came in or she came in from work, I don't remember, and like it was like this awkward silence and like whatever, and she was just like obviously like hurt, and she was like, "What are you thinking about?" And he was like, "Thinking about what?" Like he was just like truly
like a teenager.
There was a part where she stormed off into her room, and then the film crew was just like talking to him, and then she like walks back out in between him and the cameras and goes in the kitchen. You see her grab like a bottle of barefoot wine,
like a giant,
I loved that
like the
moment,
biggest
too.
bottle of barefoot wine.
She has a line too in the episode where she's like, "Sometimes I just wonder to myself, he's 20. What? It was 90 days. What are you thinking?" And I was like, Jesus Christ.
Like, this
It really summed up the whole show.
It's like the moment of
I did like that moment because it was like she was like, "What are you thinking?" And he's like, "About what?" It just seemed like he was like, "Oh, when I'm sitting there, like I'll give you an example. I had a friend who like had a brother. We were all like, he's kind of like not very bright, and we would go over to his house. He'd be sitting in his room like eating chips, and we'd be like, "Are you watching TV? Or are you doing anything?" He'd just be eating chips. Like, there's nothing else going on in his room. We were like, okay, like, are you reading? Like, there's just nothing around. I feel like that's Jay. Like, as soon as he's out of, like, a context, like, he's just a flat line. Like, that's what I think it is.
Well, that's a good transition to our next genius on this show, Kalani and Asuelu.
Asuelu?
Do you remember who these people are?
So
they were
he's
the
the-
only ones where I was like, this might last a little bit. Like, this one's got a couple years in it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they have kids.
Besides
too, right?
this, their backstory is she was.
No, let's let
Oh,
Elijah
please.
go
please,
ahead. Go
tell
right
me.
No, all I
tell
know
us.
is that she had a kid, but then she had gotten pregnant with Asuelu. Is that?
I think so.
That's a tough name.
It is.
Yeah.
It's,
For
it
a
sounds
guy
like the
from
name of
Green
a
Bay.
bird. It sounds like a type of bird.
Yeah. It's a nice name,
It
but
is.
it's the name
Yeah.
I've never said before.
But yeah, so she was like pregnant
That's me
with his
protecting
kid.
myself. How'd I do it? Yeah.
And the whole thing with the wedding was like, oh, her dad can't find out she's pregnant or he'll stop the wedding. And I was like, this is the opposite of a shotgun wedding.
Yeah,
This is
that is
like,
weird.
don't let them know they're pregnant, otherwise we can't get married.
So what did you think, Reagan? Do you remember who those people are?
I think my main favorite thing of their storyline had nothing to do with either of those two, but it was her sister, who it looked like the entire time was just plotting ways to completely destroy the two of them.
Oh my god.
She had so much side eye. Like the whole episode was
Yeah.
like
Well, let me just first say Kalani and Kalini are
Those
their
are their
names.
names.
Kalani
Kalani
is
and
the woman who was getting married, and Kalini was her sister, which, like, I have kids'
hate
names who
that.
are nothing alike, and I constantly say them wrong, so I don't know how you have.
two
Sounds like a
kids
brand
with
of
the same-
khaki pants.
It'd be weird to be like naming your kids like Reagan and Regan.
Yeah.
Or like
Right.
Elijah.
I mean, they're both pretty names.
Elijah.
Yeah.
Elijah.
Yeah.
Like, they're both pretty names, but I mean, jeez.
Yeah, it was dumb.
But they're, I just, like, he is, like, an infant. Like, everything
The guy from
Asuelu.
Polynesia.
He
Like,
seems so
He
sweet.
is so young.
He does seem very nice.
He is very, what I said to
We
Ryan.
only said negative things about the foreign people, so
No, what I.
lock her up, I guess, right?
No, I talked a lot about Brandy. And
Oh,
how-
I like Brandy. Brandy, if I had if I was like,
Oh, just I mean.
shit, I'm in jail, like I gotta call. I have one call,
Brandy,
and I
yeah,
just
call.
knew Brandy's number. I
That's
would
true.
call her.
She'd come. She'd
Yeah.
come.
She would know.
Well, wait till we get to Steven. Then I'll
So,
talk
Kalani and
poorly about
Kalini.
American people.
The things that I wrote down about them was that they have bad names, but they have great hair.
Their hair is
They have
amazing.
beautiful hair.
I said that too. I was like, she has so much hair.
I know.
On her-
So their other part about them is that their dad is from
Their dad's Samoan.
Samoa, yeah,
And he is.
and the guy is from Samoa, but the dad doesn't want them to marry a Samoan man.
Why?
Which was like,
That's a little-
of course, once you plant that seed in their head,
It's
I'm
like all
assuming,
they want.
yeah, that's all they wanted to
Oh,
do.
he was just playing a long game. That was just a
Yeah.
long con.
You think he- oh, you think he did?
Oh.
Keep it in the family.
I think one of my favorite things. There was a lot of weddings in this episode. One of my favorite things, every wedding had only 12 chairs set up, and only half of them were full. Like so many of their friends were like, "This is dumb. What are you doing? We're not showing up to this."
When Asuelu got to the boat and he was like, "It's like the Titanic," I was like, "Oh my god, you're so sweet."
Oh my god.
You're so sweet. This is getting off
I
track,
actually
but-
wrote down about him that he seemed like, and maybe you guys might be too young for this, but he seemed like Hank Azaria's character in the Birdcage. Like, there's like he has never worn shoes before, and he's just like this sweet, adorable person, and so he tries to wear shoes and keeps falling down, and like that's what Asuelos is to me. Like he's just like he's never seen a boat before, so he's like, oh my god. I mean, he's seen a boat before.
Like he's trying
island,
things
but
for
like
the first time.
like he just everything to him is like so amazing and new and beautiful, and
Wonderful.
he's so funny.
So he must be from like American Samoa, which is a
Well, I
very
don't-
small island, right?
But then wouldn't he be American?
Yeah, because then he wouldn't need the.
Oh, I guess you're right. So maybe he's from the other side of Samoa. My knowledge of
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Samoa is very limited. I probably should have done like
I think
any
everyone's is.
research. But like, so I guess you're right. But I just got this sense that like he like the world is very big to him, and he was like here in this place, and now he has to navigate not only being in America but like being a dad for the first time. And I was thinking about myself, and I was like, man, good for this guy. Like he did seem invested in the relationship though.
He did.
Like he was like giving
cried.
a kiss, he cried, like
Yeah.
he complimented her. Like I thought that was nice.
Yeah.
Also, he seems like I wrote this down. I think that he seems like he has a huge penis.
What ticked you off to that? Like,
When she had her bachelorette party, she said that was like her favorite part about him. That might have been a previous episode that you were watching.
Yeah, I
They were
think
like,
that was
"What's your
last
favorite
week's
part about
episode.
him?" And she was like, "His thing." And then just looking at him, huge mitts on this guy.
I would just like to say that as a lady, I feel like if that's your answer, you don't actually love this person.
Well, now I feel hurt.
I remember there was a flashback to what's the girl's name in this relationship again? Kalani. When she was at her bachelorette party and she was telling her sister that she was pregnant, and her sister's like, "I can't do this," and like cries and walks away, and then looks back at Kalani and she just has a necklace of dicks.
That's so great.
Yeah, because they're like
The serious
they're
moment.
so self-serious. Like
Yeah.
their sisters.
The music was like, it made everything so much more ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's
Whoever
your
does
first
that.
compliment of the show. We should
No.
mark that down.
I would-
Elijah just complimented the production value.
I
of
gotta
the
say,
show.
whoever did the music knew what they were doing.
Some of the edits
It was
are really funny
bad.
too. Like there'll be an edit where they'll just like pan to like a cat in a scene, or like I was like, that's
Cat.
funny.
Yeah.
Like, the people who are
Yeah.
editing this show like know what they're doing.
They for sure throw reaction shots that aren't happening in that moment in to
Yeah.
lengthen the
Oh,
drama.
sure.
Like,
Yeah.
Like,
But
Probably because like the drama that the people are experiencing is very like created by them.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I was like, hey, you're gonna marry a person from another country and you have 90 days to make it work. Like my first reaction would be like, well,
I'm
it's
not
not gonna.
do that.
So
I'm not gonna
like,
do that.
that's fine. I wouldn't have. But if you find somebody who is the type of person who can like work themselves up into a frenzy, thinking that they need to make it work, then you will have to spend time with somebody who's very stressed out all the time. So
Yeah.
those PAs are probably just like hanging out with this woman who thinks her dad's gonna like, punch a guy in the face, like, and throw him over a yacht, right? Like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Isn't that what the assumption is that if he finds out she's pregnant again,
He's gonna
she'll
stop
be
the
very
wedding.
upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean. I think
Also,
that-
then like, don't see that on camera.
Yeah.
well, he's gonna find out eventually.
I suppose so. Wouldn't you just lie and say it was like a magical moment at like their wedding night?
Yeah, I mean you could.
Yeah, right.
I think.
And the baby's a month and a half premature.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
assume-
there. Well, no, never mind.
well, the baby
Can't
definitely
cheat
gets the
time.
visa now, right?
The baby.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's good.
Well, that's like the other couple.
Well, it'll be
from
America.
Russia.
Yeah, because it'll be born in America. So
Yeah.
it
Right.
will, yeah.
Well, that's a good transition.
Sure.
Talk about this couple from Russia.
So that's
Yeah, that was
Olga and
really brief.
Steven.
It's because like Elijah's saying like that was brief. Like it's because it's really sad.
They
Like, I think that's why.
They had a real long. Their focus was like last episode was a real long focus on them.
Wait,
yeah.
before you say these people's names, let's guess what we
I
think.
already said it.
She
Well,
said them.
Oh, she did.
Olga.
Yeah.
I
Olga-
remember.
Olga.
I misheard.
And the guy's name is
I-
like
Steven.
Stefan. Steven.
Steven. No, Steven.
Yeah. My what's your impression of that dude?
Of that.
Oh
He looked horrible.
He looked over his death.
Yeah, he looked like he played Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Like he wanted to go back to America to play video games. He's like, I'm setting up a life for us. You're gonna unlock everything in Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
This kid's gonna be grinding his way to Harvard. Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption came out. I have to go back to America.
That's true. That does sound like.
He might be the worst person I've ever seen on reality television.
No, he's not even the worst person on this show.
Yes, he is.
Don't really even know like what happened with
Yeah, it
him.
was-
Yeah. Wait.
it was
so
just-
what's
Alright,
the
well,
whole
explain it
story?
So their background story is that she is like, I think she's like an orphan who like never like aged out of the system in Russia and then like went to America
Daddy
to
Warbucks
study.
picked her up. She
Yeah,
had a
yeah.
dog named Sandy.
She went to America for some study, like summer study program, and met this guy and got pregnant by him.
Oh my god.
So then she had to go back. So I think she has like no one in Russia. And he was like, "We're gonna do this. Everything's gonna be great. I'm gonna apply for this visa, but it probably won't get there in time. So I'll come to Russia for the birth of the baby. Blah blah blah." So he comes to
man.
Russia for the birth of the baby.
I'll stop you right there.
Yeah.
She made me watch the episode where like a woman gives birth in Russia. Like
Oh
I'll
God.
fully pass. Like you guys were like, this is a 2-hour show. Nicole watched the like 2-hour episode where this woman like gave birth in Russia, and they like made this guy like stand outside and stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
It
they
was
were
like
like-
weird,
yeah.
like old timey, where like
Yeah,
guys
they like
stand
handed
outside.
him a bottle of vodka, and we're like,
They gave him a cigar.
that's as far as you go.
I think he
you know?
got in eventually though, because he complained or whatever.
Yeah, good. That
Which
away.
makes
America.
him sound like he went to the embassy to say he was going to get the baby American citizenship and told her that, and she was all concerned because she hadn't gotten her visa. And he basically told her that once he gets American citizenship, he's allowed to take the baby home to America without having to get her consent, and then admitted to her that he had never applied for her K-1 visa because he wasn't sure if it was going to work out. And basically was like, I'm going to take the baby. So then she panicked, being like, you can't, like, I'm nursing this baby, like, you can't take the baby home. And then I think on
Imagine
this
that
episode...
Flight. Imagine that flight from like Russia without you better have like formula or what have you. Like
Well, I don't even think the baby had been bottle fed. I mean, he was only there for 2 months, so the baby at the
but
very
baby, you
most
could
would have
probably
been,
figure it out.
what,
You could raise
7
a-
weeks
You
old?
could raise a baby.
Anyway, he's a bad person. But yeah, it is like
Because
really.
you
but
think he was
ended-
like
and
trying to take this kid and had no intention of going back.
Why did he even want to take the kid?
It's his kid.
He has this
I
whole.
guess.
I'm
Well,
guessing
he,
he's probably getting a lot of like family pressure.
he has this whole thing about how his dad wasn't around when he grew up, so he doesn't want to be like that, which I get,
Yeah,
and that's cool.
yeah.
But like, then apply
His
for
dad
the
is
visa.
Yeah.
Kurt Schilling.
Or what?
So he's on the road pitching for the Phillies, Diamondbacks.
In the end, he decided to leave the baby with her, but I just like.
He's a monster.
Well, I mean,
Well, I guess the alternative is like sending your orphan wife back to Russia with this child.
no. The alternative would have been to fill the
Like-
paperwork out for the visa when you
Ooh,
said you
Nicole
did.
almost
Yeah.
said an F word. She was so mad about that. She's like, he got tired of doing the paperwork, and then like he
Yes,
stopped doing it. Okay, so imagine for a second that Jay has to do the paperwork.
I was gonna say, at least he didn't download Tinder 3 days after.
Yeah. Some Tinder involved.
Us,
So
Layla would have
that's a
been
good
like,
dad
"This is
if
the
you're asking.
funnest
Yeah.
thing I've ever
Oh my
done.
God.
I just
Look at
love
all this
paperwork."
They give you a free pen.
But we can move on because that one's kind of sad, and hopefully she
Everything
meets
from
somebody
Russia
else.
is sad.
So
What's
Russian,
with
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
It's
I
weird
think
that they shot all their scenes in black and white. That was
Yeah.
odd.
One red jacket. I would imagine like that situation is like very sad, but like if I'm production on this, it probably costs a lot of money to send camera crews and people over. You probably have like a couple PAs or whatever. But hear me out. Like cut one PA out and send Brandy. Just send Brandy. She can rent like the Russian equivalent of a Dodge Charger, and she just like chews this guy
No,
out for
it's like a
like a
mule.
week.
So what you're describing is basically like Ian Love Fix My Life,
Right.
only with Brandy.
Yeah.
I love it. You know what? Cut that out.
Basically, more brandy is the main point we have for this show.
We need brandy
Yeah.
in everyone.
You're from northern Wisconsin. That's like that's generally the answer.
Old-fashioned brandy. That's the name of their show together.
That would be-
Yeah.
That's
Brandy
so
old-fashioned.
good. Oh my gosh! Again, we should cut all this out. I mean, so I guess do we want to move on to Colt and Larissa, or
Yes.
Lisa and Eric?
We do
Colt
need
and
to talk.
Larissa.
Who is that?
Colt and Larissa is
She's the Brazilian. As long as
Okay,
you and I know nationality is more.
So
to the
she has no
names.
hair. Okay.
and Debbie, his lovely mom.
Oh,
Actually,
yeah.
Debbie does seem lovely,
She
but
does.
like, yeah, I mean,
The fact that he said like 8 times in the episode, "You look beautiful, mom," and then her face would not change expression.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
Debbie's been doing this for a while. Debbie knows who Debbie is.
She was wearing like a
She's
men's
wearing
dress
a
shirt.
salmon button
Right, yeah.
down with
Yeah.
just like a gold
Oh.
chain. Like she was a mob boss. It was great.
I don't understand any of it.
So, yeah, give
something
us your
happened
perspective.
with them
Or is she
calling the cop. He called the cops. on
Right,
her.
that was like
Was
the
she,
end of the episode. There was an issue where there was some sort of domestic incidents that's like alluded to in the episode,
Yeah.
but we don't really know much about it. But like before we talk about that, tell me like, so you see this couple and then you see the mom. Like, what's
Yeah.
what's your take on who is Colt? Like, can you Colton?
Colt is just. I think he's like a nerd, and he's kind of a dumb nerd. That was my.
Okay.
He's what is that? Like a mama's boy. They live together. Like he
Mother
doesn't-
boy.
Mother
Are you
boy.
Are you referring to a mother boy?
He's a software engineer, though. We know that.
Yes, we know
he's
he's a
doing
software
that.
engineer.
He
Like-
if he hadn't met what is her name?
Larissa.
Larissa. Like I feel like he would be an incel.
Okay, yeah,
and
right.
angry.
Just boarding up his walls.
I mean, he really like bragged about who was attending his wedding and was like, my coworker Josh.
Yeah.
Like,
That was another one of the weddings where
there's
there's like
never,
6 people there.
Yeah.
I never
It was
heard
like
of
this guy
Josh
who
person
obviously is
before.
there out of just like incidental comedy, and then like your coworker Josh, who
No,
did show
you know
up.
what? You know what
Josh.
happened? Josh got that invite and was like, "You guys were all going, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, of course we're all going." And then the day of, everyone was like, "I'm not going to that." And Josh
Or
showed
I
up
thought
and
like
was
maybe his wife was like
what?
you, where it's like, I got this invite to go to this thing. It's gonna be awkward, and you would be the type of person who's like, we should watch that happen. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
maybe,
Like,
yeah,
that
it
would-
could be.
So like, Colt. Yeah. So Colt is the guy with the glasses.
Yeah.
He also, from what you've told me, he lost like a tremendous amount of
Okay, I
weight.
don't actually know that. Just
Right?
me looking at his body.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
thought
just-
that
He
too,
seemed
looking
like
at
that
someone who
way.
was very large at some point and lost a lot of weight, but
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. I don't think that was ever
You
brought
think a
up.
shrink ray situation, or like what? Like he was a great big person.
I don't
and then-
know. I was just the way that he
Probably
looked.
all the stress from living with Larissa. It's just anxiety dropping the pounds.
Could
I
be.
do. One of the things I do love though is how she puts like "e" on the end of every like sentence. Colty. Like, I really like it. It makes me happy every time.
She seemed all right. I mean, she may not be there. She may not be there for the right reasons, which is like a reality. That's like a thing. If you don't
Yeah.
watch reality shows, that's like a thing people say.
For the right reasons.
But like if my like in my heart of hearts, I think software engineers like are allowed to be swindled by like mildly attractive Brazilian.
The point they were in like the limo driving away from the wedding, and like it was her voiceover from an interview, and she was like, "He's handsome, he's nice, he's a software engineer." That was the third thing.
And like she cracked that like big smile. I also thought like, do you think Larissa like knew? Do you think like she had met a software engineer before? Like,
I don't think she knows what it is.
I don't think she
Yeah.
knew what it was before either. Because she was
Yeah.
like, she's from Brazil. I'm sure they have software engineers in Brazil, but
Yeah,
like,
of
It's like he
what
was a
was-
doctor.
Brazil's
Yeah.
pretty far along.
yeah,
Yeah.
people in Brazil they live. It.
Hey.
This show makes me feel so xenophobic because every time they like you talk about these other countries, it's always people who are desperate enough to come to America on a K-1 visa and marry
Yeah.
somebody who's like fucking tricking them.
Well, there is always this like weird undercurrent on this show that makes me like annoyed, where the family members will be like, oh, this person just wants a green card, and like some of the seasons, it's like it's someone from like Amsterdam, and you're like, no, they're like they're fine, they're doing fine. Like, I don't. So there is like that weird undercurrent of. Like, one was like a British dude, and I was like, I don't think that's a, like,
That's what he wants.
I don't think they even like America.
Yeah, like, and so there,
If a
that always
Brazilian
annoys
woman
me.
wants to live in Vegas, she could probably get a work visa to work in Vegas,
Yeah.
right? That she speaks.
I honestly have no
She
idea how
speaks
hard
great
it was.
English. Like she could certainly work in Vegas, right? Like there's tons of jobs there. I'm sure that like they could work
I
that
don't
out.
know what
It might be easier.
Is that where they're living? Are you implying that she could be a stripper?
No.
They are living in Vegas.
Listen, any of these ladies could get a job.
I'm not saying that she would choose that, but and like no shade to the ladies doing that. It doth my cap at you. That's what you're supposed to do. But like they are in Vegas. Like his mom Debbie has a slot machine in their kitchen. It's like behind her during a couple of conversations.
Oh, yeah. And she's got a camouflage lazy boy.
Yeah.
I was like,
She's
oh my
the
god.
There was an episode where Larissa was like, I think it was when she first got there, and they were showing her around, and they had like no furniture in the living room, and like that slot machine was there and everything, and Colt was like, oh, we didn't buy anything because we wanted you to pick it out and feel comfortable. And she was like, she like casually mentioned like at breakfast, like, oh, I'd like to go shopping and get some stuff and maybe get rid of like some of the stuff here in the slot machine. And they both were like, that is a special family heirloom or something. And they like acted like she had like murdered their cat. They were like,
our
and I was like, "You
grandfather
guys."
won a fortune on that slot machine and then spent it on that slot machine.
His ghost is in there.
He spent
So
his
I don't
entire
really
winnings
know what
on
the
it.
story is, but it's serious.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, all told, they got married and they seemed very happy at the end. It was a stressful day, and that Larissa like had that like stressful moment.
Well, the very end was them like about the legal stuff. Was the very end of that episode.
State of Nevada
That
is
she might not be able to stay because
right.
she committed what could be a felony prior to, like in her visa.
Oh, I didn't get all that.
So I like kind of deep dove on probably a really solid, journalistic site, which is Radar Online, and it didn't really explain too much. I think there was like some fighting, and I don't know that there was anything physical necessarily, but apparently in Vegas, if people get called for domestic, somebody has to get arrested. So
in Vegas, it's actually a domestic threat if you talk about removing a slot machine from somebody's house.
It's weird that you're able to look that up because I thought what happens in Vegas.
You would think that. Yeah. It's crazy too. Like their wedding, there was no buffet. Is this too many Vegas jokes? We're gonna cut this off. Yeah. So that was.
honestly,
Colt
I thought
and
their
Larissa.
wedding looked fun.
Their wedding?
Yeah.
Is
It
that the
looked
one with all the
fine.
trees in the background?
It was the one with
That's
Josh from his
if we
work.
had to get into it.
Josh.
But no,
It wasn't his
it was
cousin
like,
or something that was like not
oh,
gonna be there.
By the way,
Oh,
his
yes,
cousin,
that was
his
all.
cousin wore like his like work shirt,
I
like
was
he
gonna
had
say,
like
he had
a,
the
He
same
wore like
polo
polo shorts.
I loved
Yeah.
it.
I have cousins that like our wedding was very like this is good to explain to you guys are a young couple in love, and my wife and I when we got married, like I certainly have cousins where I would be like,
We're okay.
we're not like own a slot machine together. But like I had family members where I was like, I'm not gonna like have a dress code because like I know that like my family would never adhere to a full dress
Oh,
code.
yeah.
You're from
The
UP.
UP.
Yeah.
When I was at my dad has like wedding jeans, you know, like his good
I
jeans
love that.
for weddings.
There's
Yeah.
no blood on them, so
Multiple members of my family have button-down camouflage dress shirts. That's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vests, like camouflage vests. Yeah.
So like
That's
like
pretty
yeah,
nasty.
we have, just to give full disclosure, like I have one cousin who like fabricates his own knives and got married
Full
on the
disclosure, you guys.
Star Trek Enterprise.
Oh my god.
So like we were like, wear whatever you want. It'll make it more fun. It'll
Yeah.
add to the flavor of it. But like this guy showed up wearing his work shirt.
Sure.
which
Okay,
isn't,
but
like,
am I mistaken? Because there were 2 Vegas weddings. Was this the one that Elvis?
No,
Was I
there was
remember?
no Elvis.
Oh, okay. Because one of them, that's what I was thinking. One
so
of them
Elvis
was.
must have been Jay and Ashley.
Yeah, it
then.
must have been
Okay.
Jay and Ashley.
Oh, there's so many signs that Jay and Ashley are never gonna work out. And she's like, how could this have happened?
the king
Am I
oversaw our
crazy
wedding.
marrying a 20-year-old?
By Elvis?
Yeah. How would a 20-year-old know who Elvis is? A 20-year-old, like just any 20-year-old. If I was
So
like, do you know who
confused.
Elvis Presley is? Like
Yeah.
they would barely. Like I have taught my son some like old-timey songs, like specifically like the Big Bopper, his song Chantilly Lace. But if I was like, do you know who Elvis is? My son would know, and he's 4, and I assume all 20-year-olds are basically 4-year-olds.
Yeah, essentially.
Like, would a 20-year-old
Yeah.
know who Elvis Presley is?
Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
God,
That
fuck,
is
you're
that's
young.
still
I
10
don't
years
even
ago.
I don't even know what that reference is. Like I'm aware of what Lilo and Stitch is, but I don't know how
I knew you were
Elvis
gonna make
relates
me
to
feel
Lilo
old.
and Stitch.
Yeah.
I think Stitch does a little Elvis impression.
No, what he does is he puts his because he's
Let's
an
actually
alien.
change the podcast topic.
This is interesting. No.
This is a podcast within the podcast where you explain new school Disney movies.
Now I'm here for
He
it.
puts his claw on the record player as if it's the needle, and then the sound comes out of his mouth.
Oh, I remember
Holy
this.
shit.
Yeah.
Am I fucking high right now? That's amazing. Yeah, I don't think I saw that one. And it's like a Polynesian like themed thing, and there's Elvis, right?
Yeah,
Like, so
it's Hawaiian.
that's who should have married
Oh,
the guy
Kahlua.
from Kahlua.
Kahlua. I keep thinking your name is Kahlua.
Kahlua and Kalanick. They should have got Lilo and Stitch.
Suelo.
Yeah. Bring us back to
All right.
What are we talking about?
Well, I don't know if we have anything else more on cult. I did the one thing I wanted to point out was like I wear contacts and I have glasses and like I really like feel like we've come a long way in like glasses technology and like glasses can be cool now, but like the glasses that Colt and his mom wear, they're like broken. They're weird.
Like,
It really was distracting to me. I
it's
don't
like
know.
somebody like Goodwill or Walmart donated
Oh,
glasses.
yeah.
I don't want to make fun of appearances too much, but like
Yeah, that's like part of the thing. I want to be like super positive to all the people, but then I see like the clothes, like the aesthetic of like their house, like
Yeah.
leaves me feeling like maybe
Barren.
Larissa will be like a really good thing for them because she'll be like, guys, we need drapes.
Yeah. And a color other
don't
than
need a slot
eggshell.
machine. Yeah.
And camouflage.
Their whole life is eggshell.
And camouflage.
Yeah. Those are their wedding colors.
It's just our, what is that called? Like, this is our, like, statement piece. It's
Yeah.
our camouflage
It's a
lazy boy.
It's a slot machine next to a camouflage lazy boy. That's actually Elisha's family crest. It's a slot machine
Works
next to
out.
it.
Checks out.
All right. Well,
What's
the
next?
next couple I think that was interesting to me, at least, is the one from Wisconsin. So
Yeah.
we are from Wisconsin. I'm from Wisconsin to my core. Elijah, you are from Wisconsin.
Lived here
My whole life. I was born in Illinois.
I grew up in Illinois, but
Yeah.
The upper
Reagan's
Peninsula is
from
basically Wisconsin.
Upper
The UP,
Peninsula
yeah.
/ Wisconsin.
UP is basically Wisconsin's Canada.
Yeah.
So like,
It's the south of the
Wait, then what
north.
is Canada?
Yeah. but like, so there's a couple where the guy is from Baraboo,
Baraboo.
Wisconsin, which is famous for
The circus.
the Ringling Brothers Circus, of course.
I
Oh,
panicked. I
I
was like,
know
I don't know
that.
this famous for.
Yeah,
Of course,
I
the
know,
circus.
yeah.
Circus World
I
Museum.
said that joke. We drove by and it said UW Baraboo, and I was like, "What's that? A clown college?" And
Yeah.
you just stared at me blankly. And I was like, "That's a really good joke."
Really dominating her with regional humor. Yeah, sure.
Anyway,
That's interesting.
So like he's from Baraboo, which is kind of on in between Madison and the
Leda.
Dells.
Oh, sorry. I was giving you her name, Leda.
What's her name?
Leda?
Leda?
Is her
like
name
that
And
thing
what's the
you
guy's
scoop
name?
soup up with.
Yes.
John?
Eric.
Eric?
Eric.
Okay.
And
Let's
she's
just
from
call him-
Jakarta.
Which is
Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
Indonesia.
And what's your impression of them? I guess.
She is such garbage. Oh,
So you don't
God.
like her?
Well, they're both
Well,
huge
he's bad,
garbage.
too.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's definitely just in it for the green card. And
Okay.
He's
Yeah.
definitely.
But is that bad?
No.
That was mine. That's
Really?
part of my thing
I
is like
guess.
if you were just like purely on his face, like I'm tricking this guy, trying to get into the United States. Like if like in a diary session she was like, this is all bullshit. I get it. Like I'm just trying to trick this guy. I don't want to live in fucking Baraboo.
I think what made me mad is like, first of all, you were talking about the PAs fucking with them. Oh, sorry, I'm
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you can go with.
Actually, my son heard that. Please leave.
We were talking about how we felt like the PAs took his pants for sure.
Yeah, because they're like trying to
Oh.
stir up some drama because they had that whole thing. We're like, "Where's my
Ooh,
pants?" And we're like,
that's a
"Someone from
really
the crew
good
took his
theory.
pants."
That's a really good theory.
That's why I really hated her, because she was such a dick about the pants. It's like things
Yeah.
get forgotten. Like, just go get some more
We,
pants.
the whole time we're like, they're black pants.
Yeah.
Just go get some black
They're
pants.
black
Like, who
pants.
cares?
Also, you're getting married in Baraboo. You can get married in
Yeah,
jeans.
somebody's
in
there
Baraboo.
in their good jeans.
My
No
dad
doubt.
is there.
That,
in his
I
good
mean,
jeans.
that venue was one of the saddest things.
Oh, it was,
Oh, it was in a hotel.
It
like,
was summertime.
conference
They
room.
could have just gone outside somewhere.
Yeah.
They're like, you know what? I want to get married in an HR conference.
you can
Yes.
get married at the Capitol like pretty reasonably, but they were the Capitol, Madison,
Madison.
Wisconsin, but they were in like a
Salon.
room. They were in a room at a hotel, but it looked like it was cordoned off, so it was just half of it. Where the guy
Yeah.
was
Oh,
just
yeah.
like,
Where they had like
"Can I
one
get
of
it half price if
They
everybody's
pull those
aware that
walls
it's half
across.
Yeah.
a room?"
I
I felt so depressed.
I also loved during the reception then he like raised his toast. He's like, "Thank you to everyone for coming," and it was the same thing Elijah said earlier, where there's like 3 people in the frame beside
There were like
him.
7 tables set up, and there's like just no one there.
Yeah.
The number on the table said 13, so you know he had at least 13 tables. Say you six people per table.
Yeah.
That's 13 tables. That's 78 people, and there was maybe
We should say
20.
Reagan's a math major.
I was like waiting. I was like, I am not going to say this.
I might have. What if I added that wrong? That's really
I
embarrassing.
don't know. You sounded like a scientist there for a second. I was like hadn't thought about math this whole episode. Yeah, so they get married in like a hotel,
Sad
Conference
hotel.
like a sad
Conference
hotel conference
Like-
room.
Yeah.
But
I
give us
hate
their
her.
background.
I
Give us,
hate
like-
her with so much.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
She's mean. Like, she's just really
Yeah,
mean.
she
Like,
did
what?
seem
Like,
mean.
he.
He
Like,
also
you know
seemed
how
like he
we
deserved
mentioned-
it for some reason, though.
Well, yeah. Like, here's
I
the
just
thing.
didn't like
So,
it.
you know how he mentioned his daughters didn't come?
Yeah.
Except for the one who he was like, I'm so glad you came, and she was like 7. I was like, she clearly had no
She was
choice.
right.
Like, she was there. Like,
Right.
Oh, they were talking about the child?
Oh, I thought
Yeah,
it was
I
like,
thought they were talking about the woman sitting next to the child.
no, I think it was
No,
the
it's
child.
what
I'm
they
pretty sure it
did.
was the child. But maybe it
that's
wasn't.
hilarious.
I wasn't sure. I thought it could go either way. I thought it was like the child or the lady
The
next
older
to him
lady
was
next
his
to him.
daughter, and like
No,
the child
because
was his granddaughter. But I guess he never mentioned.
No, I'm pretty sure it was the child because one of the things
don't know.
she really hates, Leda, is that he pays child support.
Oh.
And she's like, you shouldn't pay child support. And he's like, well, I'm going to pay child support.
Yeah.
Like, it's like I legally have to, but also I should.
Yeah.
Like,
She clearly wants all his money.
Yeah.
but she claims to be super rich. She claims to be from a rich family in Jakarta, and she claims to, like, that's why she hates his apartment and hates all this stuff. It's because, like,
He lives in an apartment.
Yeah.
In Baraboo?
well, here's the thing. So
Who are his
when
neighbors?
his daughter was living with him, and she came back,
Are
and
his
like,
neighbors going to school to become clowns?
how many people live in that apartment? How many clowns?
Do you know how many
well,
like balloons she probably hears being blown up?
oh, could you imagine? It's just like squeaky all day long.
Oh my God.
What are they doing over there?
Oh my God.
Well, he was living in that apartment with his daughter, who was like 18 or 19 or whatever. Like, so she was an adult, and like with the understanding that Leda has a young child, like a 3 or 4 year old. That when
Oh, okay.
she came, the daughter would need
I
to
think
move
she
out.
thinks she's getting some great deal out of this.
There was
Yeah,
a
because
point in the. Oh, sorry, you.
No, she was like, "This is my American dream to move to America." I was like, "To move to Baraboo, Wisconsin is the
Yeah,
American
It
dream."
is beautiful. Like I will say, you have the river there, but like if you were coming from like, I don't know, like an island nation that's
Yeah.
like also very beautiful, like Wisconsin.
Eternal
Right now
winter?
it is January.
Yeah.
It is
She's-
not nice.
The marriage just ended. Actually.
Yeah, I'm
when
sure.
it snowed yesterday.
She's like, I thought when I was up there in half of a conference room at Holiday Inn Express, I had stars in my eyes, and now that I'm here, I see it all.
Can I tell you that her family came to the U.S. to meet him, and like
Oh,
he was
really?
like, I want to show them the U.S. and like show them that it's going to be a great place for her to live, and he's like, so I took them to New York City. So he like took them to New York City and was like, "This is America,
How
isn't it
dare
great?"
you? The Dells was just up the road.
Yeah.
To like suggest that like New York is in any way a representation of what her life is going to be like in Baraboo, Wisconsin is so funny to me.
I
And
just played
so
the Dells.
obvious.
I was just there. Were you? Did you do that show in the Dells?
No,
no.
I'm sure you guys are gonna do it because it's a great show and you guys are very fun.
Yeah,
you. But like I was just in the Dells and I can tell you that like the Dells is a tourist area in Wisconsin and we drove like to this show and I remember driving past these huge hotels and then like I had lunch in Baraboo that weekend and I was just it's a very different vibe than like these amazingly big hotels that are supposed to have
Water parks?
yeah, water parks for people
Yeah.
from Chicago to come to.
Yeah.
And then there's Baraboo, which is like another couple, 20 miles down the road. It's a different world. Like they're different planets. It's like it's like Jakarta and the Dells. You know what I mean? It's so different.
There's a point in like when it was like Next Time on 90 Day Fiance where they were sitting on the couch and she like turned to him and it was just like a cut and she was just like, "So you don't have money?" and then like cut away. So I don't know what's going on there, but I think he lied to her about being rich.
So this is a good point. Like, so you were like
she saw that. Wait, hold on. She saw that apartment and where they got married,
She's like,
and she
really
was
putting
like,
it away. That's nice.
You don't have
Wait.
money?
Do you have your phone on you? Just Google what an apartment goes for
In
in Baraboo.
Baraboo.
Like, I've lived in like rural areas before, and I live in a house in Milwaukee, but like we've rented for low amounts. I'm sure, like
I've rented in like Nina.
yeah, in Wisconsin, like
Yeah.
rural Wisconsin. I can't imagine it's very
It can't be
expensive.
fun.
Oh,
But
no.
This guy's like ex-military, right? Like that's his
Yeah.
thing. He
Oh,
talks about
definitely.
like military.
Yeah.
He has a very like cop haircut.
He
kinda
definitely had
thing.
like a
Oh, yeah.
bumper sticker
What
on
did
his
he
Focus with a gun on it.
Yeah, this guy seems like the kind of guy that I would run into who would like say two things to me at a Quick Trip or a gas station. I'd be like, "Oh, I don't want to have this
Yeah.
conversation."
Oh, no.
At all.
He even said in the episode, he's like, "Everything is an operation to me. My wedding day is an operation to
Oh my
me."
God.
Every day's a
Right.
mission.
It's my mission.
red flag.
Yeah.
And he
Today
even-
the mission's to get married.
Yeah,
Even-
yeah.
Then his friend Heather was there, and he was telling her to do something. He was like, "You need to blah blah blah," and da 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 da. And then he walked away. I think with his hands behind his back. Like,
Yeah.
I was like,
Weird.
what the hell?
I'd say like a quick look. The average 2-bedroom is around $700.
Okay, that's
Which is
more
a little
than
more than I
Two.
would expected.
Yeah.
Baraboo.
But that's just your first
Read
look.
your
like,
mind.
Yeah, that's a quick look. I'm sure you
Yeah.
could find a buck.
If you went to
below
like
that.
Craigslist.
Clowns make a lot of money, so
Yeah, well,
that's part of the.
There's a high
Although
demand
it's the
for them.
off season.
For clowns, there is no
Clowns are a
season.
summer. They're a summer entertainment, don't you think?
I'm a winter
Nobody wants a
clown.
winter clown.
So, as we wrap up, this is pretty good. We transitioned to like.
There was one other couple, Jonathan and Fernanda, but
There
they were,
is?
they,
Oh my
yeah, they were
God.
pretty boring.
I
I
can't
don't
even
know
remember.
that. Yeah,
I honestly can't.
I,
You've
like-
mentioned their names a couple times
Yeah.
and it's not coming back.
I, like literally my notes just say. I mean, I guess wedding. So that's where
Which
I
one
was
were
at.
they?
Like pretty young woman from Mexico.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Her family wasn't
Oh
there.
yeah,
She was
it was
sad
like
about it.
outside, and he
She wore
he
a
had his
different
brother.
dress.
That was the guy that said broski, and
Yeah.
I hated him right then.
Oh yeah, he's like a total like Chicago bro.
We were
Oh, the
watching it though.
30-year-old marrying like an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
And then Elijah was like, "Oh, I get, but they are brothers."
Yeah, it was like their actual. I thought it was just his friend. He's like, hey broski.
Yeah.
Now it was acceptable.
Yeah, they weren't really a big part of the episode.
Yeah,
So-
they just didn't have a big.
Yeah, that's
But also
Part in
another
this
wedding with 12 chairs and 6 people.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah. You put all these weddings combined, it was like
it was like me.
yeah,
Half a normal
40
wedding.
people, like 50 people, and Josh from my work.
Can you
So here's my questions, like final questions. Like, would you watch this show again? Reagan, I'll ask you first.
Oh man, there's part of me that next time when they're all in the room and like so in the next episode apparently all the couples from the one we watched are gonna be like on a top like on The View basically.
Yeah. reunion episode,
like a
yeah.
recap show.
I
yeah.
kind of
So
want to
you're probably not
watch
even familiar with that. Yeah.
the recap show a little bit, but no, I don't think I'll like get into this show full time.
Oh, man.
I
This
think
is-
it would
You
kill
sound
me.
like somebody who just tried crack.
No.
It's a
Just
one-time
one more
deal,
bump.
and then your friend Brandy's like, "Look, you should like, pull it off."
Yeah, if there's
Brandy,
more
like-
brandy, I'll watch this show till I die. But
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Elijah? Do you think this is probably it for you?
I want to watch like a best of clips from
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
next episode,
Like a
which is
wrap-up.
basically, I guess, what the next time was.
You want like
Next time.
Sports Center for
But, like,
90 Day Fiance.
Whatever was happening, so I definitely want to say no, but definitely when they're like next time on 90 Day Fiance, whatever was happening in that was
Was
insane.
compelling.
It was absolutely- they were all like on
They're so
couches
good
together
at that,
fighting
though.
with each other, and I was like, why? Do you all know each other now?
Yeah.
And
This
you
is like
hate each
Nicole's
other?
theory on this is that like these shows, I swear, like if you watch a little bit of it, and I've been tricked into this, where this is how I started off watching the Real Housewives and being like, I can't even stand these people, and
Yeah.
now Nicole will watch one, I'll be like, I'll tell you what, if they talk to Ramona like that, she's not. And like that's how it starts. Is like you get into the idea of like what's the next thing that's gonna happen. So that's like really funny to think about. Who are your favorite person and least favorite person? Reagan, I'll ask you.
I think my favorite person was Asuelo, because he was just
So innocent.
innocent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my
He's
least,
like Paddington Bear.
he is he's like a Samoan Paddington Bear. Especially when he does his little dance at his wedding, and he
yeah,
came out
it was cute.
in the traditional skirt and stuff. That was awesome. I think my least favorite person had to be, what's her name? Leda.
Leda, yeah.
Leda, yeah.
Okay.
Leda or Ashley, just because she's like, I don't understand how this happened to me. It's like, how do you not understand? how this happened to
This
me?
20-year-old
Yeah,
got married by
today,
Elvis.
My Jamaican 20-year-old isn't taking his marriage seriously.
we got Elvis and everything, and he
I
won't
will-
respect our vows.
Yeah.
Could you imagine not respecting the king?
What about you, Elijah? Who was your favorite person? Who was your least favorite person?
It's the same as Reagan's, not to be
Okay.
adorable
Oh
right
my
now.
God,
Yeah,
guys.
Barn Swallow and Ladle were my favorite. Barn Swallow's my favorite and Ladle's my
Sure,
least favorite.
sure. That makes sense. I guess I'll say that my favorite person was Brandy.
Damn
I didn't know
she
Brandy was on
an
the
option.
table.
Yeah, Brandy's always available. My least favorite person is, I hate to say this, but it's probably Colton.
Yeah.
Colt.
I just
Colt.
don't like his vibe, and like his whole thing like kind of rubs me the wrong way, and
Yeah.
it's not that like
There's a bit of
it's not that,
Jeffrey
like,
Dahmer to him.
yeah, there's
Like-
just something off about him that I would be like, I don't want to be around you.
Yeah.
And it's just
There's
a vibe.
scene before his wedding where he's just fixing his hair in the mirror for like 10 minutes and he just rubs it back and it falls back in his face.
Yeah.
And it's just that
Keeps
over
going.
and over.
That's actually 2 hours cut down.
But there was also like that scene where he was like trying to tie a tie with his mom, and I was
Oh,
like,
that was great.
Where he was like, Mom.
What?
But also,
we're
how do
gonna
you
have
not know how to tie a
Yeah.
tie?
That was weird. I'm probably wrong about that. I will say, like, there are probably worse persons than that guy, but like the vibe I get from him is just doesn't jive with like.
you
what
guys,
he's
a
trying to do.
man lied to a woman in order to steal a baby from Russia, and
That-
no
I
one has
feel like that
mentioned
was
his
a big deal.
name.
In the
I
episode
don't
we
value
watched, it
Russian
was
babies
such
Yeah. Yeah.
their relationship. You didn't really catch.
Yeah,
the
no,
whole thing for the
yeah,
episode,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure.
His was they didn't have like a big moment on this episode, but
Also, I don't know. why
Actually, like, this is weird to say, but like, so like, you're right. I got lied to potentially steal a child from another country, and I feel like we watched this whole episode and we threw a greater stink about somebody removing a slot machine from a house.
I didn't want to say
It
we
was
were
an
just
heirloom. It's been in the
Yeah,
family way
like-
longer than that baby's
Yeah,
been in
that
that
baby
family.
doesn't have the kind of history that slot machine has.
We were surprised he couldn't tie a tie, but now I'm remembering he had a slot machine, so
Yeah.
why would he?
Nicole, who are your favorite and your least favorite?
this season's really hard because I feel like most seasons there's like one redeemable couple, and there's one couple that seems like they actually like know each other, and it just
Yeah.
like their circumstances are that they're from different countries. I mean, my least favorite is absolutely Steven. I hate him so much. He's a horrible monster.
He's really
of a
good at pro
person.
skater, though.
Yeah.
He
Crushes
seems like
it.
he would be.
You can say Brandy.
I do love Brandy.
Or
She's a
Diana,
fine girl.
the mom, Diane or whatever.
I think like honestly, I'm gonna throw a curveball. I really like Fernanda. I know she wasn't in this episode at all, so like it doesn't matter to anybody. But she's like really sweet and kind and nice, and
Who's she?
the
one
young
from
Mexican
Mexico
woman.
who got married to the
Oh,
Chicago
okay.
dude, bro.
Okay.
Like, I think
Fair.
she's like
She's
really
18,
sweet.
she's, like,
yeah, I
not
mean,
seen
it's
anything.
not gonna probably. I mean,
Work out.
You don't think it's going to end well in 2019 for a Mexican immigrant? Well, now I've heard everything.
Or
Not when Broski downloads
Yeah.
Tinder 3 days later.
All right. Well, I think that about does it for the episode. You guys want to plug anything? I know that Elijah hosts a really awesome open mic, but there's also probably book shows you guys have coming up.
When
Anything?
is this coming out?
Probably within the next week or so.
Yeah, well, Bremen Cafe every Monday night. I'll be hosting a mic there. You wouldn't know anything about that,
Nope.
Brian. And I'm in Upper Michigan. I think January 18th.
If you're listening and you're in
Yeah.
Upper Michigan, you
So
should
there's
plug
that.
this. We'll get it out there. Reagan, you got anything to plug?
On January 18th, when he's in Upper Michigan, I'm starting an open mic that Friday, a weekly open mic Friday nights at
Nice.
the High Note. It's kind of like downtown area.
Okay.
And then I think I have, that's it. That's all.
Okay, that's
Something
cool.
else
Rad.
going
Good
on,
for you
but I
guys.
don't
Two open mic hosts right here, like
Yeah.
climbing the ranks.
remember.
Thank you so much. For
Thank
more
you.
information about us, go to ryanmasoncomedy.net, and we will see you next time.